you gently get up and then fill in the seats on that side. Thank you very much. So if my eyes are facing you, it means that kindly come to the front seats for us. Thank you. On the side as well, please kindly fill the seats in there for us. Okay. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues of the most noble profession, good morning. Good morning. A very warm welcome to the Cedi Conference Center, University of Ghana, Legon, for the maiden conference of the Ghanaian-Diaspora Nursing Alliance, GDNA. This morning, we gather under the theme Reimagining Nursing through education, research, clinical practice, leadership, and management. It promises to be a very insightful day. My name is Evelyn Amwako, your MC for today. And on behalf of GDNA, we want to express our appreciation to each and every one of you for gracing today's conference with your presence. We want to begin with an opening prayer. And with your kind indulgence, I'd like to call on Madam Margaret Otu-Addo to give us the opening prayer. A round of applause for her as she comes in.
Shall we pray? We pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for the program. We thank you for the speakers. We ask that you come and share this program for us. In Jesus' mighty name have we prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much, Margaret, for ushering us into the presence of God. So allow me to extend our warmest greetings to our esteemed speakers and guests. And I would like to introduce those who are with us this morning to you. We are expecting that a lot more will join us, but I'll go ahead and introduce those who are with us. I'll begin by introducing our advisory council members in no special order, according to how they are seated. We have Professor Lydia Aziato. Prof, can you give us a wave? Professor is the Vice Chancellor of University of Health and Allied Sciences. I also have Madame Philomena Woolley, the Acting Registrar of the Nursing and Midwifery Council. Thank you, Madam, for joining us. I have Miss Nana Asante, the Board Chair, Nursing and Midwifery Council of Ghana. our one and only Asantua, the President, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Mrs. Perpetua Opori Ampofu. So those are our advisory council members who are with us today. We also have some of our speakers with us. We have the Dean, Dean School of Nursing and Midwifery, University of Cape Coast, Dr. Nancy Ebu Enyan. Dr. Nancy, thank you for making the journey to join us. And then we have the representative of the Dean School of Nursing and Midwifery, University of Ghana, Dr. Josephine Che. Thank you very much. And then for all of you, we are grateful that you have been able to join us this morning. A round of applause for all of you. It is now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Dr. Josephine Che, the representative of the Dean School of Nursing and Midwifery, to give us the welcome address. Dr. Josephine.
Standing on the existing protocols, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Dean of School of Nursing and Midwifery, who is unable to join us due to an ongoing academic board meeting, she extends a warm welcome to each of you to the Cedi Conference Center, University of Ghana. The theme for this conference is Reimagining Nursing in Ghana through Education, Research, Clinical Practice, Leadership and Management. Is very appropriate. This is so because nursing is pivotal in healthcare delivery, and currently evidence-based requiring research and in-depth knowledge in patients' disease, care practice, and psychosocial support is very crucial. Your presence here as we embark on this journey of knowledge, sharing, and collaboration is very important. May the next few days be filled with insightful discussions and fruitful connections. I trust that good deliberations will lead to the emergence of policies to advance our agenda. For those of you traveling from outside the country, do enjoy your stay in Ghana and explore beauties of this country. Thank you all for being an integral part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Che, for welcoming us to the University of Ghana. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our chairperson for today. She comes in with a very rich resume. Last year, in fact, I was at a program where she also chaired, and when she had to be introduced, it took a while because the person went through the entire profile. And at a point we were standing, and so we thought it was going to end, but we were standing, and it went on and on. And at a point, the old men and women with knee problems had to sit down for it to be completed. And so, Professor, with your kind indulgence, I would like to do an abridged version of the introduction. Am I allowed? So our chairperson is a former dean of the School of Nursing, University of Ghana. She's the first nurse to be appointed as a vice chancellor in Ghana and the second in the whole of Africa. She comes in with a very rich resume. She's an accomplished nurse educator, and she holds several positions in national and international organizations, affectionately known as Professor One. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Professor Lydia Aziato. Let's do it for her until she gets to the stage. Professor.
Thank you very much, Madam MC.
Good morning to all of us. Good morning. How are you doing? Happy New Year to all of you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge my senior colleagues of the noble profession here present, our esteemed President of the GRNMA, Madam Yasantua, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge the board chairman of our Nursing and Midwifery Council, the registrar, the Dean of the School of Nursing and Midwifery, UCC, our international guests here present, our only apostle of the nursing profession. I acknowledge you, sir. And all the beautiful men and women, handsome men, beautiful women. Are you not handsome? Why are you frowning your face? I'm saying that thing, are you really smile? Anyway, I want to say thank you to the organizers for inviting me to chair this program. I left home this morning around 4 a.m. So I was here before all of you came. I was here before the cleaners even finished cleaning here. So I've been here for quite a while. So those who were late, next time don't be late because the chairman will come before you. Right. So I am here because I believe that it is good for our own who travel to find it necessary to come back to partner with those of us here to develop our profession. That is why I'm here. I believe that it is something that is very, very good, very, very important, and something that all the nursing and midwifery leadership should support. The team that has been chosen, when I looked at the first word, reimagining nursing and midwifery, the first question I asked myself was, what are we reimagining? Now, reflecting on that, I know that keynote speaker will speak, but once I have the floor, I have to share my thoughts. So let me share what I think. The nursing and midwifery training or profession had a heavy influence of the colonial training. The colonial model of training was heavy on clinical practice. And until recently, this was still continuing. Clinical practice, clinical practice. Nursing and midwifery, shall I say, professionals, when it comes to the educational arena, I am the first nurse ever since independence to be appointed a professor. How did it take this long when nursing education started in this university in 1963? My appointment was effective 2021. I mean, it was announced in 2021, but then effective 2020. So it took almost 60 years. Almost. How did it happen? Now, for the nurse or the midwives to progress in education, the educational arena hinges on research. So it means that our training was not heavy. It is only now that the Ghana Health Service has appointed the first nurse as a director. The Ghana Health Service, the whole nation Ghana Health Service that we had, I mean, the majority, about 60% being nurses and midwives, didn't have a director position at the Ghana Health Service. Mrs. Ivan Mensah is the first to be appointed. How did it happen? So when I look at the team reimagining nursing
I see the word education, I see the word research, leadership and management, I am very, very happy, because it is only when we reimagine and make conscious efforts to add on to the clinical practice our skills, knowledge, and competencies, the story would never change. And therefore, I wish to state before the speakers come on board that it is important for nurses and midwives in Ghana to invest in higher education, to invest in research and publication, and also develop their skills for effective leadership and management positions. And we have to look for these opportunities and go and compete for them. Sometimes positions are advertised, and the nurse or midwife, we feel that we are not there yet, we are not competent, we are not ready to go and compete. I don't believe in that. I believe that when we position ourselves and develop our knowledge and skills, we should actively seek these opportunities and go and compete for them. I also believe that we as nurses and midwives should invest in mentorship, networking, collaborations, and partnerships. Above all, we should work with our diasporan colleagues to improve the quality of the services we provide, either in academia, in the clinical area, in management positions, in our research and our publications. We should target quality. For those of us in the academia research, you know that there are pediatric journals. We also know that people now, I don't want to use the word plagiarism, but they will rather pay somebody to do the work for them. These are not good enough. Before I take my seat, I also want to say that all of us should demonstrate that commitment to serve our nation, our own people. Whether you are here or you travel, whatever it is, you have to contribute to the development of our nursing and midwifery profession and to healthcare delivery in Ghana. Because tomorrow, the patient may be you or myself, and we all have that responsibility to serve our people. So on this note, I wish to accept to chair today's program. I wish that you are active participants when the speakers speak, contribute, ask questions, network with the people who are here. And I also want to congratulate the brain behind the Ghana Diaspora Nurses Alliance, Yvonne and Matilda, for making this happen or for giving birth to this baby. I'm sure that next year it will be better. So thank you all, and I wish you the best in this year, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Aziato, for your remarks and agreeing to chair this morning's occasion. And she highlights a very important point that tomorrow the patient could be you or I. And so each of us has a responsibility to contribute our quota, whether we are in Ghana or in the diaspora, to improving the health system that you have. Professor, we are grateful. In my introductions, I missed a few of the speakers who are with us. And so I would like to introduce our own apostle, as Professor said. Apostle Dr. Thomas Niteko Teko is also our speaker this morning. A round of applause for him. And then we also have Dr. Cinder Rushton. I hope I got the name correct. Yes, from the Johns Hopkins School of Nursing. GDNA was formed a little over a year ago, and It has been a journey of collaboration, a journey of liaising with others to ensure that some of the things that the association intends to do comes to pass. And so for the journey so far, this past year, I would like to invite the president of the Ghanaian-Diaspora Nursing Alliance, Professor Yvonne Commodore-Mensah, to give us her address. Please, a big round of applause for the young professor. I'm giving you pressure. Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. That is a lot of pressure. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's such a joy, an honor to be here today. We're so grateful that you took time in your busy schedules and got here very early in the morning for our first conference. So I'll first ask our team back there to help me pull up the slides. And while they do, again, want to acknowledge our dignitaries, our special advisory council members, and also our keynote speakers for making time to be here today. So my name is Yvonne Commodore-Mensah, and I'm the president and co-founder with Dr. Matilda Decker of GDNA. So if you're wondering how we came up with a name, so Ghanaian-Diaspora Nursing Alliance, we wanted a name that's really reminds everyone that no matter where you are in the world, if you're a nurse, Ghana is still in your what? In your DNA. So GDNA. Yes, that's where we got that. So Ghana in your DNA. Okay, thank you so much. Great. Next slide, please. So what is our mission? So GDNA's mission is to foster a sustainable local to global collaboration between Ghanaian nurses in Ghana and Ghanaian nurses all around the world. And again, we also emphasize the point that you don't have to be Ghanaian. We've met people who have asked, oh, do I have to be Ghanaian to be part of GDNA? And no. So as long as Ghana is in your DNA and you're interested in uplifting the nursing profession in Ghana, we welcome you with open arms. So that is our mission. And our vision really is to be able to contribute to training global nurses who can practice anywhere, because they are highly skilled, they are highly qualified, and our specific area that we are focusing on is specialty nursing education, because we recognize that that is where we can elevate the nursing profession so that our nurses can do more. We know that there are a lot of gaps in healthcare in rural areas around the country, and specialty nurses are already filling the gap. We know they're doing the work. How can we support them to do more? How can we equip them with the resources and the skills to do more to improve healthcare? So that's our vision. Next slide. So Evelyn said it started about a year ago officially, and it's amazing how time flies, because on January 6th of 2023, we gathered in the building, I think next door, for the launch. So some of you were here. I recognize a couple of faces. You were here when we officially launched. And so we want to thank you for believing in our dream in the first place, but also coming back for this conference. And so you'll see in the picture there on the left, attendees at the launch, and then on the right are our advisory council members and our executive team members. Next slide, please. So there's a saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone, and if you want to go far, you go together. So I have had the deep honor of walking together with some amazing human beings. I think we can all acknowledge that everyone in this room has their full-time job. And for GDNA, it's a volunteer mission for everyone here. So I want to use this opportunity to really acknowledge our executive team. And many of them flew all the way here for this meeting and to be part of this program. So I would like to ask our executive team members who are here to please stand. so that we can acknowledge all of you. Thank you. So we have Dr. Danielle Apau, we have Irene Fanka, we have Josephina J, Dr. Matilda Decker, Miss Anne Bonti, Stephen Dombre back there, and Jacqueline Iden is all the way back there working. I know I'm missing someone, and Evelyn is also on our executive team. She's our amazing MC. And we also have Irene Fanka. Irene is somewhere also working very hard. So, oh, yes, Irene. There is Irene. And there are other team members who are also working behind the scenes and watching this live stream who can't be here today. Oh, and Richmond is also here somewhere. I wish you could have waved, but Richmond is here. Lily is also here with us. Next slide. But you'll also see that there are other executive team members who are doing the work but cannot be physically here with us today. And so I just want to take a moment to say thank you, because at no point have I ever felt that Matilda and I were walking alone, because every single person on the team believes in this mission and is doing the work. And they're doing it from the bottom of their hearts. So they're not doing it for any personal benefits. All they want is to work together to improve healthcare in Ghana. Next slide. And again, I can't thank our advisory council enough. So first, we wanted to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. We don't know what all the solutions are. And so for us, it was very important that we assemble the right team of people who would advise us, right, to take the necessary steps and understand the local context. And so we've been really honored to have the following advisory council members. There are 10 of them, and they have corrected us when we've gone wrong, even today. We've had conversations about what we can do better. And that's what we want to do. We always want to be better. So I also want to take this moment to say that in the 365 days that we've been walking this journey, all of you have been very gracious with your time and shared your expertise with us. So thank you. Next slide. So where are we now? We started about a year ago, and now we have over 1,500 or 1,500 members and growing. And like I said, it's not only Ghanaians. So people say, oh, is it only Ghanaians? When you look at this map, you can see that our footprint is not only in Ghana, but we have members in Togo, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Canada. GDNA members are all over the world. So I'm hoping that in the next couple of years, when we show this map, we will light the whole map green, because you'll have a GDNA member everywhere. So yes, thank you. You can clap for that. Yes. Thank you. And we've only been able to accomplish this because many of you are, or most of you in the audience are members, and you spread the word about GDNA. We were actually in Brenu 2 days ago, and we met a midwife there who said, oh, I'm a member. So that was so heartwarming to know that there are GDNA members all over the country. So and we have all of you to thank for that. Next slide, please. So what have we accomplished in the short year that we've been doing this work? So like I said, we started in January of 2023. We had an information session to tell people about GDNA, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. And in May of 2023, we participated in International Nurses Day. We had a webinar on migration, and Mrs. Perpetual Oforiampofo was one of the panelists. Professor James Avoka Asamani was also one of the panelists. We've also had a UK meet and mingle. We've had a couple of webinars, and you can see them listed on the screen, because we want to make it clear that we want to mobilize all of this expertise that exists globally. And how do we share knowledge? How do we share our skills? So we've had a couple of webinars. In August, we also had a roundtable, and I'll talk about that shortly. And just recently in November, Dr. Daniela Pao led a webinar on professional development and what that looks like and how you can continue to advance your career. Next slide. So these are just a few photos of the events that we've had so far. We've also contributed to the Health Policy Outlook series in collaboration with Johns Hopkins. Like I said, we had a meet and mingle, and that's the International Nurses Day webinar flyer that's posted there. And that was also in collaboration with the International Council on Nurses. So we're really proud of that collaboration as well. Next slide. And we also had another webinar where we invited Ghanaian nurses in the diaspora. We had people from UK, Canada, US to talk about the experience of moving outside of Ghana and practicing as a nurse, because sometimes people think that, oh, it's a bed of roses, and yes, you migrate for greener pastures. But these panelists also shared the realities of what life is like on the other side and how you can prepare yourself, and also being frank about some of the challenges as well. So they share their perspectives. But we also had a webinar on evidence-based practice. And so Stephen, right there, back there somewhere, co-led it with Dr. Diana Baptiste. And like I said, Dr. Apao led a webinar recently. Next slide. So this is another collaboration that we are really excited about. So CARE International, how many of you have heard of CARE International? They are a nonprofit organization, and they work to end poverty around the world. So they work in over 110 countries. And so GDNA was invited to participate on what we call CARE on Capitol Hill. And so the idea is to advocate for policies to improve the state or conditions for frontline health workers. So you can see pictured there. So Jacqueline Iden, myself, and our one of our advisory council members, Madam Nana Asante, we were invited, and we actually went to Capitol Hill. We met with the senators and Congress people, and so we told them to support a bill that will provide more resources to frontline healthcare workers around the world. So for us, it was an honor to be able to say that we are not just talking about doing the work, but we're actually advocating for policies that will protect nurses all over the world, including Ghana. And CARE has an office in Ghana. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge that CARE sponsored about 15 nurses to come from the north to attend this conference. So if you're here and you are sponsored by CARE, can you stand or wave? So we are so grateful that CARE has collaborated with us to ensure that all of our nurses have access to conferences like this. Next slide. And so health fair. So just 2 days ago, we were in the Ampeni Brenu area, and we collaborated with the following organizations: Akoma and Toso, OKB Hope Foundation, Elijaco Foundation, and Isabella Healthcare Services, and to provide healthcare to a community that was in dire need. So you can see some of the photos. We also taught CPR. Elijaco Foundation taught people how to perform CPR. We provided healthcare, and it was such a rewarding experience for all of these organizations to come together to provide healthcare. And so we will plan to do this every year. So if you couldn't join us this year, next year, we'll open it up for other people to join us as well. So I want to say thank you to everyone who volunteered. There's some volunteers here in the audience. Please wave if you were at the health fair in Brenu. Ama, I see you there. Yes, there are a couple of people in the audience who volunteered to be at this health fair. Next slide. And then I mentioned a roundtable. So we know that migration is an issue. So we had we organized a roundtable at the NMC. It was hosted by the NMC to address this issue of ethical migration. And there's a report that is set to be published in a week or two. Please be on the lookout for this report, which highlights key recommendations that the panelists brought up to address this issue of ethical migration. Next slide. And fundraising gala, this is coming up. So if you haven't bought your tickets on Sunday, right? On Sunday, please join us. The idea for this fundraising gala is that we know that the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives has a scholarship fund. to support specialist nurses with your education. And so they had an event in August that I attended, and I remember Mrs. Hannah Aqua mentioned this fund. And so we talked amongst ourselves for our executive team, and we said, how can we contribute to the scholarship fund so that no specialist nurse will drop out of school because they can't afford their education? And so we're really thrilled to have this gala this Sunday. We look forward to welcoming each and every one of you so that we can raise the funds to support the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives. Next slide. I'm almost done here. So just want to quickly highlight a couple of our collaborators. CARE International, the Johns Hopkins Center for Global Initiatives that actually helped to sponsor this conference. In Spring, CGFNS, the ICN, the Daisy Foundation. We also really honor that the Ghana representative for Daisy Foundation, Apostle Ni Tego is here with us today. Thank you for being here. Next slide. And then our Ghanaian stakeholders. Again, none of this work can happen without these amazing organizations, including the NMC, the GRNMA, the GCNM. All of them have made this work possible. And we'll ask Mrs. Woolley to give an update in terms of the NMC and how we want to really solidify the relationship between GDNA and NMC in the form of an MOU. So you'll hear more about the MOU and the contents of this MOU shortly. Next slide. What's on the horizon for 2024? Quickly, we hope to continue to do the work. We hope to continue to offer these webinars. These are some topics that we came up with. So from advancing the role of advanced practice nurses in Ghana, sleep apnea, also innovation in midwifery care. We know that there are some midwives in our audience, and how to become a nurse entrepreneur. What does that mean? How can you be a nurse and also be an entrepreneur? And there are a couple of entrepreneurs in the room. I won't name them or point them out, but we really look forward to offering these webinars as well. Next slide. Other projects. There are a couple of things in the pipeline. We're working on a workforce survey in collaboration with the NMC and other organizations. Advanced practice education, that is our focus. We see a lot of room for growth in this area. So we'll be delving into training programs and policy and advocacy training. How do you become an advocate? How do we uplift the voices or encourage nurses to really talk about the importance of supporting nurses, making sure that people have the adequate supplies, personal protective equipment to do the work, and how do we ensure that nurses who are on the front lines are protected as well? So we'll also have training for that. Next slide. And with that, I just want to end by saying thank you. It's been a rewarding year. We've only scratched the surface in terms of the work that could be done. But none of this would have been possible, again, without our advisory council members, without our executive team members, without all of our members. So I just want to end by saying thank you for believing in us. Thank you for welcoming us with open arms. And we look forward to continuing to do the work in 2024 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne, for that short address. It is now time to receive our first keynote address on the theme. The theme for this morning is reimagining nursing in Ghana through education, research, clinical practice, leadership, and management. The first keynote address is going to be on advancing nursing in Ghana through education, research, and clinical practice. And to give us this address, our first keynote speaker is the Dean of the School of Nursing and Midwifery, University of Cape Coast. She's a registered nurse with expertise related to health promotion, nursing education, nursing practice, and community engagement. She has mentored many students during their academic and clinical placements, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. She's a fellow of the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives and the West African College of Nursing. Her current focus of scholarship is to collaborate with multidisciplinary teams to implement a sustainable cervical cancer prevention program in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dean of the School of Nursing, University of Cape Coast, Dr. Nancy Innocentia Ebu Unyang.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Professor Chairperson, Professor One, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol established. Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here this morning, and it's also a privilege for me to speak on the topic Advancing Nursing Education, Research, and Clinical Practice. I hope my insights and reflections on the topic will inspire you. I also believe that the theme is very relevant because nursing in Ghana has evolved, and it has gotten to a time that as stakeholders, we come together to deliberate and devise strategies on how we can advance the frontiers of nursing and midwifery. I really love a quote by Malcolm X, quote and unquote, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." So whatever we hope to see in the near future, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the time is now. So the kind of nursing education we hope to experience tomorrow depends on the level of commitment, the level of preparation, the resources, and the interventions that we develop today. There are so many challenges confronting nursing education in Ghana, and it could be viewed from the socio-ecological perspective, because as individuals, we have a role to play, communities have a role to play, institutions have a role to play. So I would like to start from the institutional level. What can, as health training institutions, as universities, how can we contribute to advancing the frontiers of nursing education in Ghana? Currently, there are limited opportunities in terms of postgraduate training. University of Ghana is the only university running PhD in nursing. In the area of midwifery, same, it is UG. How do we advance the frontiers? It is not good enough. When it comes to advanced nursing practice, University of Cape Coast has MSc in advanced nursing practice with specialty areas, adult health nursing, mental health, perioperative. But these people are not prescribers. Elsewhere, the advanced nurse practitioners, they run nurse-led clinics. They are sort of independent, but we cannot say the situation is not the same in Ghana. So I believe it is about time. It is about time. We cannot wait for the future. It is about time that we really think and see how best we can improve. More universities running that program, and from there, if we are able to develop that and strengthen it, then we can move forward to develop a Doctor of Nursing practice program. So this gap in access to nursing and midwifery education, I believe, could be strengthened if, as universities, we come together and also collaborate with our external partners. We cannot do all by ourselves. Even in terms of faculty, how many professors in Ghana? In Ghana, we have only one Professor 1, and we have associate professors across our nursing faculty. If we even want to run DNP, do we have a nurse with that specialty? So we ought to be intentional. If we want to run it in the next 5-10 years, then it's about time we sponsor some nurses to go out there, develop themselves, and come back to start the program in Ghana. So as healthcare continues to advance, the nursing education must rapidly change to address the complex healthcare situation. Again, faculty, so that is what I said earlier on. Faculty preparedness is very important. You cannot give what you don't have. If you are not DNP prepared nurse, how do you train DNP holders? So we must prepare ourselves to face the challenges of the future. Again, individual nurses making efforts to enhance their knowledge and skills and competencies. So again, if we need people to even go for the advanced nursing practice program, DNP programs, individuals must have the willpower. They need to decide that, they will go in for such programs. At times, it's not only by institutions sponsoring. There are a number of scholarships out there. We have MSc, Advanced Nursing Practice programs. There are a number of them in US, in UK, Australia. They are all over. So individual nurses must be aggressive in, sourcing for some of these grants and scholarship for further studies. Again, our associations can also encourage their members, see how best some of their monies they can also fund. Madam Perpetua is here. So I believe that the Ghana registered nurses and midwives can also sponsor some nurses, because they have nurses who are really committed, hardworking. So you can identify some of these intelligent and hardworking, committed nurses and sponsor them, so that together we all shape the future of nursing and midwifery in Ghana. Again, if we want to advance, we have to really look at our training programs. Elsewhere, degree in nursing is the starting point. But here we are still training NAC and NAP, nurse assistant clinical, nurse assistant preventive, and they form the majority. So we have to, check. It should be in quality and in quantity. So if there is a way that we can also advocate for the entry requirement into professional nursing to be changed, we should do so. I know that now even the diploma awarding institutions, some of the institutions have already forwarded their curricula to JTEC, seeking accreditation. And I believe the union stakeholders, we must all come together and advocate for that process to be, hastened. So in the area of clinical education, again, we can strengthen and co-create linkages with clinical partners, students and faculty, health professional groups and stakeholders to advance nursing science. So nursing faculty need to explore and develop innovative advanced nursing practice programs based on the national developmental agenda and priorities for the health sector. So with this, our existing curricula could be either redesigned to make sure that it reflects transversal skills, the changing trends, teamwork, reflection, and also pay particular attention to clinical education, because clinical education it's vital. I believe that is where we actually transmit the culture of nursing and midwifery into the next generation of practitioners. So as such, the role of preceptors cannot be overemphasized. But preceptorship in Ghana hasn't been standardized. It's like each school of nursing and midwifery is doing their own thing. But I think this is where the Ghana Health Service, the nursing division, the Ministry of Health nursing division, they have to come in, and the NMC to really standardize it. We need a national policy on preceptorship. Okay, and the regulator really must make sure that all nursing institutions will go by that standard. Another area we need to pay attention to is specialist nursing and midwifery education. We all know that the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives, since its inception, and they've been able to graduate some cohorts, they are really addressing some of our health challenges. Now we have oncology nurse specialists running their clinics, those in hematology, orthopedic, and all that. And that is fantastic idea. We have the membership now, they are training the fellows too. But how can we support the college? Because having the professional certificates, it is not good enough. We need to back them with academic certificates. Because you go elsewhere, we have the advanced nursing programs are run by universities, and they go to the clinics to work. By here, they graduate. Membership is the membership. So with the membership, if they go elsewhere and they want to continue, how do they continue? The membership is not a master's degree. It is a professional degree. You may have your fellowship, same. And even in academia, we are having problems in terms of promotion. Those with membership and fellowship, they can't go beyond a certain rank, because they will say that it is not what academic degree. So I believe, Ghana College is really doing well, but it is about time we all to come together to make sure that, what the future is really bright. We don't make mistakes. Our own colleagues will go out there and they will be frustrated. You have fellowship, but you go there and practice as RN. And that is the current situation now. You can have your membership, you go out there, and you and the staff nurse, you are basically the same. So we need to change that. And how do we change it? How? We need to seriously, think and change the status quo. We can't say that is how it's been done. Otherwise, we cannot get anywhere. We need to change. Again, expansion of specialist education is very, very important. The government has plans, that is Agenda 111, building, 111, district hospitals, and specialist nurses will be needed. So how do we support the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives to expand, or even our universities to also collaborate with the GCNM to make sure that those living with the members, at least they get masters, okay? Then the fellowship, they also get what? PhD. I know the UCC, we have our PhD going through accreditation. University of Science and Technology also has PhD in nursing also in the pipeline. So how do we, liaise with Ghana College to make sure that at the end of the day, you get your membership, then you get either your MSc or your MPhil in nursing or Master of Nursing. Then you get your fellowship, and by the time you get your fellowship, at least you also get your PhD in nursing. With that, I believe our graduates they will be globally competitive. They wouldn't be limited. But a major challenge, confronting Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives is funding. And Prof. Yvonne mentioned earlier. So how do we support them? How do we support them in terms of funding? And I believe one way is the universities. The universities running nursing programs also coming together to form a network, okay? Network of universities running nursing programs in Ghana and apply for funding for such projects. Because at times when we work in silos, each one is trying to brighten the little corner. So we don't want to hold each other's hand. I want to be the best university. I want to be that. It's not really helping us. At the end of the day, whether you are in the north, you are in the south, you are in the middle, it is nursing and midwifery. So we have to look at the broader picture and rather come together and see how best we can support the system. And again, education goes with research. And there is a proverb that he who does not research has nothing to teach. And I will add that if you don't research, there is nothing to practice, because we have evidence-based practice and it is based on research. So how do we, most nurses fear, they as soon as you mention research, what is this monster? Research is difficult. So I believe everything starts with the mindset. You need to change your mindset. Those doing research are not superhuman beings. They are just like that, us. But the difference is our mindset. I started as a staff nurse. In fact, a state registered nurse, and the state registered nurse curriculum, we were not, I think we didn't do research. But I found myself at the GU clinic at the Cape Coast teaching the then regional hospital. And I was passionate about my patient. They used to come there with BPH, urethral strictures, and all sorts of genitourinary conditions. So every 6 months or year, I used to collate the data, all their files, folders, and just try to find out the kind of diagnosis they are coming out with, the courses, and interview them. In fact, I was just doing to sacrifice my curiosity. It was when I got to the university that I realized that that's what I did was even research. Okay, so research is what I'm doing when I don't even know what I'm doing. And all of us, so all of us in our various clinical area, we try to do something that we are confused about. We don't even know what we are doing. That is research. So pursue it, okay? That is research. And again, you need commitment. You ought to have that commitment. Okay, so one is the positive mindset. Research is not difficult. It is interesting. You need to tell yourself that. Then you need to be committed to the process. And consistency is very important. It's not that you do it today, then consistency is very important. And especially, you also need mentors, okay? You need people to mentor you, the experienced researchers to hold your hand, show you the way. Again, you also have to open up to multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary collaborations. As nurses and midwives, some of us, we are so comfortable working with nurses and midwives. We don't want to open up to work with others. But the fact is the patients has, or in the healthcare setting, the problems are complex. And even the problems that our clients come with, they are complex. That require a multidisciplinary approach. A client may come with maybe breast cancer, okay? But the breast cancer, it has what? Psychological, emotional, it has hematological aspect. So you need to bring other people, and these multidisciplinary teams actually produce greater results. You realize that if you are doing it alone as a nurse, you may look at the coping strategies or the psychosocial impacts or just your area, the behavioral aspect. But bringing other people, working with the laboratory technician, working with the pathologists and all that, will be able to tackle the problems holistically. Again, we need to build research teams. I'm not sure our facilities, we have research teams at the various facilities. And again, it should be a policy from the Ministry of Health. I know that there is a research directorate, and at various levels, they are required to do research. But I have worked at a regional health directorate before. That research unit, it is just there. It is just a white elephant. Nothing, there is no money, nothing. So you just be there And it was some of these things that I had to even leave to the university because I can't just be wasting my time. Okay, so we need to make form research teams and make it operational. That is the only way we can promote research, and we need to promote research culture in nurses. Okay, research culture in nurses. So I know that Prof. Aziato has is it the Research Alliance, and she's been mentoring nurses. So nurses and midwives, we have to avail ourselves. At times, you have to just email the person, I want you as my mentor. I want to do this. How can you support me? And I don't think any serious person will turn you down. So we also have to pay attention to clinical practice. And research is central to clinical practice. We've been talking about evidence-based practice at various levels. How do we generate the evidence? Because even in our nursing schools, we take them through research, but not really the evidence-based practice. We just mention it, but we don't take them through how to generate the evidence. And it is a big problem here. In fact, my first master's in the UK, it was a systematic review. And when I came, to become a faculty in UCC, it wasn't easy. Because research, some people thought that wasn't research. If you do evidence-based systematic review, this kind of, it is not research. Here, research is you going to the field to collect what? Primary data. So that was the main reason why I had to do a second master's. Yes. So that one, I went to the field, administered questionnaire, and that is research. Okay. But so many years down the line, our research directorate, now that is what they are promoting, systematic reviews. And now people are running helter-skelter, trying to learn how to do scoping, trying to learn how to do systematic review. So at times we need to also, open up. We shouldn't just rubbish things that people bring or their ideas from elsewhere, because it's like always we are over 10 years behind. Yes, we are always behind. So we need to open up to new ideas, new opportunities. That is the only way we can develop. And again, the evidence-based practice, especially our clinicians sit on, huge data. There are so many questions that you wish to have answers to. But how do we do it? It is a new skill, okay? Evidence-based, just like the research, the empirical studies that we've been doing, the evidence-based practice, there are steps to generating the evidence. That's when you are taught, it is not difficult. What you need what? A reliable internet. You need a computer. You need access to databases, okay? Once you have access to the databases, correct databases, and you are taken through how to generate the evidence, how to do the screening, it is not difficult. Because that is the only way we can make good clinical decisions and judgments. So I believe the Ghanaian-Diaspora Nursing Alliance has an important role to play in advancing the 3 pillars. That is the nursing, education, research, and clinical practice. Because you have seen what is here, you've gone out there, especially those coming from the diaspora. You've seen what is there. So you know the gaps. So how do we bridge the gap? So, you can actually, in terms of partnership, the Ghanaian Diaspora Alliance can link institutions to partners abroad. Okay, you can link us to partners abroad. You can also support in terms of the funding, not necessarily the association funding it, but directing people to where we can seek for funding for some of these activities. And again, the capacity building programs are also essential. So I will conclude by leaving with 4 key take-home messages. That nursing education has evolved and there is a need for the introduction of advanced nursing practice programs and expansion of specialist nursing programs. Institution of scholarship schemes and increase in study leave for graduates programs will facilitate postgraduate training. And again, research is central to nursing practice education. And there is a need for formation of research teams to drive that agenda. So I'll end with a quote by L. Nightingale that never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. So in the area of our research, clinical practice, nursing education, whatever you intend doing, do not let anybody discourage you. You can do it. Just tell yourself that you can do it. Once you have that, you tell yourself, I mean, that is 90%, because the distractors are many, but you can take, the decision lies on you. So I believe in everybody, and I know that with that, if we all work together, we can advance the frontiers of nursing and midwifery in Ghana. Thank you.
Hello. So let's do it better for her. Let's do it better for her. Thank you very much, Dr. Nancy Ebu Enyan, for that very enlightening presentation. Hello. Okay, so when she spoke about research, it reminded me about my time as an undergraduate student at the University of Ghana. And you know that you have to do a research at the end of your studies. And the foundations are very important. A lot of our students who are in the undergrad, do they understand what they are doing? So we went to Adafo, we were conducting a research on factors contributing to malaria in pregnant women. We went to Adafo to collect our data, and we were looking for the pregnant women. We couldn't find them. So we would roam the town, we'll go to the health center, sit there, and you'd have 1 or 2 people just come in. And at a point, we were tired. So I remember we went, sat under one tree, bought coconuts, took the coconut, then took our questionnaires, and then just ticked anything that we wanted. At a point, we had it analyzed and we presented it as our thesis. That time, we did not understand what we were doing. And growing up and then now understanding the meaning of research, what it entails, the fact that it informs policy, it informs clinical practice. I would do it better now if I had the opportunity. And of course, we are doing it better now. And so the foundations, the things that we do, they are very, very, very important. And so let's improve on the foundations also as well. And with that, I would take questions from us. Questions, contributions, if anybody has a comment. Comments, questions, contributions on the topic that has been done. There's a microphone here.
All right, thank you so much. Just a little comment. I want to mention that Dr. has made. Happy to say that I'm a UCC.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you so much. Dr. Ebu taught me nursing administration at the University of Cape Coast. So thanks so much for the presentation. In relation to evidence-based practice that you mentioned, it is an area that I am personally passionate about. And that is what I'm focusing on for my PhD in nursing science at the University of Toronto, Canada. And as you mentioned, really why I got into that is when I did my master's in the UK, I realized that this is a model of care that was far advanced. There were system level initiatives that were in place to support nurses in the clinical field. So talking about things about access to databases, talking about including a requirement for EBP competencies in the entry to practice standards. So the NMC, if you take the NMC entry to practice standards, you have a requirement that nurses by the time they graduate should be competent in EBP. And so this, you see that the academic institutions taking it up to begin to think about what can we do so that by the time our students come out, they are competent in EBP. So I wanted to emphasize that in really to advance EBP in Ghana and other low middle income countries, we need to consider the system level initiatives. Those in the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service. We need to say that EBP is what we desire, what we want to have in our healthcare system. And when we have these policies in place, then academic institutions will begin to think about how do we meet these requirements. Healthcare organizations like hospitals, how do we meet those requirements? So thank you so much. I'm sure most of you are aware of the Nursing and Midwifery Strategic and Services Framework, 2019 to 2023. Obviously, just expired in terms of the framework. But in it, they highlight that in order to improve the quality of nursing and midwifery, we need to advance EBP. And so, once again, we have the policies in place talking about that. It's about the action. So I'm glad that someone like Ms. Woolley is here, and with NMC, some other key dignitaries. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for that comment. Any other? Yes, please. Can I have a microphone? Otherwise.
Yeah. Please permit me to sit. It's a great privilege to be here among the great people and great minds this morning. My name is Maria Sulemana, resident nurse specialist, GCNM, third year. This is a wonderful program, but the numbers are few. I would wish that next year we disseminate the information early enough for a lot of nurses to be able to participate. For me, I heard of it just last night, registered, and I'm here this morning.
Hello. Hello.
I'm very happy about something mentioned, nurse and entrepreneurship. This is what I want to talk about. In today's world, you can't do anything without money. Money buys you the certificates, not buy as in buy, but you have to pay money to be able to get the certificates. You have to pay money to do whatever you want to do. And the stability you have with your finances being strong gives you that confidence to aspire higher and to develop yourself professionally, as we are talking about. And one stream of income cannot do that. At least we need about 2 or 3 streams of income to be able to do that. I humbly want to say something about myself, not as a show off, but just to inspire my colleague nurses and everyone here. I run a small shea butter business. Even though now at GCNM, I'm not able to fully run it the way I used to do, but I still do it small. And with that, I'm able to pay my GCNM fees. I'm able to pay for a set in fundamentals of global research. I've completed that. I've been able to do leadership and management in health. I've been able to do that. And I'm currently running a master's program alongside GCNM with my shea butter business. I mean, with my nursing salary, I couldn't have done that. But my small business is able to cushion me for my feeding and my day-to-day activities that needs money, while I save my salary to be able to do all these things that I'm mentioning about. Just like I said, it is a humble presentation, not a show off, just to encourage my colleague nurses inside this room that let's think outside the box. Let's think outside the box. What is your passion? What have you ever dreamed that you wanted to do aside nursing? Think about it well, package it and monetize it. This is all that I want to say. The dean of UCC spoke about anchoring each other for development, for upgrade, for self-actualization, for whatever we want to do in this life. I want to give a small scenario about a Ghanaian businessman and a Nigerian businessman. I went to Circle yesterday to repair my phone. After that, I needed a charger and a phone cover. The Nigerian guy was able to go to other shops to get me a phone cover and a charger. On my way home, I got to Kev and I wanted to buy fruits for my children. And it was raining. So the one selling the fruits was not around, but there was a bread seller next to the fruit seller. So I said I wanted to buy the fruits. She said, the owner of the fruits is not around. I'm busy here. So you see, the mindset has to be that we need to do our smaller bits to anchor each other to grow. This Nigerian boy, probably after taking the charger for me, the phone cover for me, will get some tips from the other shop that he took it from. I wouldn't want to talk much on that. So basically, I think I'm done. So let's think outside the box.
Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts with us. She spoke about thinking outside the box and also about the importance of collaboration in the profession. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Dean of Students, University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Judith Anaman Togbo. She is with us this morning and she's going to lead. Please let's see you. Thank you very much. We also have with us the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. David Tinkwanchun. David, he's up there. Thank you for your presence. We are going to move on to the next keynote address, and that is about promoting resilience and ethical nursing practice. Promoting resilience and ethical nursing practice. And I'm pleased to invite Dr. Cinda Rushton and Anne and George L. Barton, Professor of Clinical Ethics, Johns Hopkins School of Nursing. A round of applause for her as she comes.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, esteemed professor, advisory group, and my amazing colleagues. I would have to say that Ghana might be in my DNA. I have really been blessed with my visit so far. And I am just delighted